When I plan my attack, when I plan my attack, I doubt that you're ready. Rhymes like bullets penetrate your zone. One time on the MIC. When I plan my attack, I doubt that you're ready. Rhymes like bullets penetrate your zone. On the MIC.
Yeah. White on the track again, PPL is back again, coming for the Patty's twins, cause she the champion. It's the Pantheon Cup we all battle for. When rivals get to scrapping, it's a savage war. This is what we waited for. Finally, y'all, the time is here. Fantasy is back, my favorite fucking time of year. Light your bloods a tie now. PPL is live now, the show where shit gets real, dog. We're all after the pie now. Geno in the jet, he hosts the show, uploading videos. He does it all from A to Z. You like the league to pay the fee or win it all and play for free. Play to be the best or lazy. It's a league of competition, still the crown, that's the mission. Dog, it's time to get it cracking, plan your moves and start attacking. PPL is back in action, teams get mad, you know what happens. Hate each other, play with passion, build a team with trades and drafting. I think I done said my part, it's time for PPL to start.
When I plan my attack, I doubt that you're ready. Rhymes like bullets penetrate your zone.
And here we are at the final week of the regular season. It has been a great 2021 PPL season, everyone. We are here for the final regular season week. Geno, the gent, Ulysses as Hate on the line. Let's not waste any time. We got a lot of playoff scenarios to cover. We are in complete playoff mode. But before we jump into that, let's jump back to week 13. Starting with the Argonauts accepting the challenge, defeating the Gaff attack, 147 to 139. The Baby Gas team wins one. The Mean Machine on the verge of the number one pick, 133 to 113. The United Play as the Destroyers leave no doubt when it matters. Defeat the Pantheon Cup champions Patty's Twins, 173 to 167 in a Game of the Year candidate. Only for the Boss keeps it alive in the prestige matchup of the week, getting themselves into the winner's circle, 103 to 64. And Appease the Gods is in the PPL playoffs. They back, baby. 101 to the Skulls, who have been eliminated, 90. Alrighty, PPLers, we ain't got much time to waste. We're going to jump right into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alrighty, Ulysses, you already know what's up, man. Give me your good, bad, and ugly from a crazy week 13.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the most exciting weeks of football we've seen in recent history. I love the new playoff format. I love how this is shaping up for a week 14. I mean, my good has to be the Argos. You know, I haven't really talked much about it this season. But,
okay.
I mean, you saw what happened on Thursday last week. I mean, I figured the Gaff was feeling it. They saw Dak struggle. They saw Zeke struggle. I mean,
and CD played well.
Yeah, I can tell you the Argos were not happy with what happened in that San Francisco-Seattle game. But, hey, George Kittle really threw it down. This guy's been missing all season.
Right.
And to see this level of production.
Ridiculous.
At that moment, I mean, I got to give good to them. Again, they really threw out the gauntlet. And, again, the challenge was not accepted by the Gaff. And I'll say, like, this really, matters more to the Argo because they love doing this to teams. Now the Gaff, and we're going to talk about scenarios, are not in control of their own fate.
Right.
This loss. The Argos love doing this to teams. Number one seed. They're just toying with people at this point.
Right.
So, yeah, that's good.
And what's your bad, man?
Yeah, bad's the Skulls. I mean, you said it. They eliminated themselves this week. I mean, I thought, and, I talked about it last week. I thought Belichick was going to have a game plan for the Bills. It played out massively. One of the best coach games I've seen in recent history.
Yeah.
And you know what? Frankly, the Skulls shouldn't have been in that position. ATG only put up 101 here, but you just look around. I mean, top three scorers, whenever your coach and D are in that conversation, you're typically not winning the game.
Right.
Unless you're the Gaff. The Gaff tends to, get those kind of games and win. But, it was just bad for the Skulls. Got eliminated. They're a better team than this record reflects.
Much better.
In the playoffs, and that's all that matters.
All right, man. And give me your ugly, man.
Man, it was ugly for the squad. This is a game against two teams in
Okay.
the Alpha Conference that are playing for playoff seeding. Squad beats Only for the Boss, they're out.
Right.
Only for the Boss is done, and Squad punches a ticket
To the PPL playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, they're in. Appease the Gods did it last week. This team didn't do it. United Players did it last week.
In a clutch matchup.
A clutch matchup, but you know what? Squad did not get it done. And not only did they not get it done, they played terribly. I mean,
Okay.
Kirk Cousins is the only guy with more than double-digit points.
Bench Kyler, man. I was surprised about that.
Man, I'm just looking at this. You look up and down. I mean, this guy would have lost to anybody, and there's two teams that scored 100 more points than they did. It's not a good look when you're going into the playoffs, and the squad is fortunate to be in a win-in-their-in scenario next week. We're going to talk about that shortly. But to get done with the way that they did when so much is on the line.
Yeah.
We saw what this owner did in the off-season.
Right.
Draft night. I mean, everything is on the line. Season of no excuses, and you rolling out a 64.
Okay.
It was ugly.
Okay. All right, man. I got to go with my good. My good is the United Players, the Destroyers. Now, I know personally that they were gloating after this victory at Patty's Twins, man. They're feeling themselves right now, and they should be. I mean, this was a week where they showed they did not need King Henry, and that was something that me and you have been talking about all season since that injury had occurred. They got by. I mean, they got it from everywhere, and from guys Yeah, and they got it from guys you expect them to get it from. So nothing was out of the ordinary or something they couldn't expect going forward. The United Players look primed for a run at a Pantheon Cup title. So I really got to give the United Players their props. If they bring their stuff in the right week, they can be a devastating team. So that's my good. My bad, you know what? I don't like to kick a man when he's down, especially when he accepts challenges. But I'm going to go with the gaff, man. You go Derek Carr, which was kind of puzzling to me there. When there was a lot of different options out there for the gaff to go with. I didn't think Derek Carr was a good option. And that Buffalo coach at the end of the day was a tough call. Now, they held it together. That we saw the arrival of Williams in the Denver backfield in that Sunday night game really made this matchup a matchup worth watching in the end. But at the end of the day, they lost control of their destiny. They're going to need help to make the playoffs. And even if they make the playoffs, guys are injured. Jalen Hurts might not even hold on to his job. So we'll see there. But there is potential for them. That's why they're only bad. My ugly, and it pains me to do this, is the Skulls. And the reason why the Skulls are my ugly is because this is a team that is too good to... They should have already locked up a playoff spot probably a couple of weeks ago. And they just... week after week could not get it done. And it really comes down to just the little intangibles that we talked about all season long. The thing about the Skulls is that they're set up for a bright future, which is why this season has gotten very ugly. But they do have a silver lining in the fact that they do get to play spoiler this weekend in a big matchup with a squad underestimated. Misery loves company. And I'm hearing that the Skulls wouldn't mind putting squad underestimated out for the rest of the season. So while things are ugly for the Skulls, there is a bright season looking forward to next year. And for some of these teams, that is the direction that they have to look. So for the Skulls, 2022 could be bright, but 2021 turned out to be an ugly mess for them. So that's my ugly. But that being said, man, we got to get into week 14. It's crucial now. But, some of these matchups have no importance at all to the playoff standings. Some have very much importance. So we're going to go up in scale as we go. And we're going to start with two teams founding ownership of the PPO who have already clinched playoff spots. We're going to start with the Argonauts taking on Appease the Gods. All right, man, KLEOS week. KLEOS week is another interconference week in the last week of the season, where you make your final claim for KLEOS. KLEOS means glory in Greek for those who are unaccustomed to that. That being said, let's go, man. What do you think of this matchup? Argonauts, Appease the Gods. Both of these teams are locked into top 4 spots in the PPL playoffs. Obviously, the Argo will not have to play next week. ATG will see somebody. What do you think of this one, man?
Yeah, I mean, not much at stake here. Argo's locked in at 1. Peace the Gods could potentially swap 3 and 4 spots with United players depending on what happens here. I've got it staying as is because I've got the Argos winning this matchup.
Okay.
I think that it sets up a potential matchup next later on in the playoffs.
In week 16, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think that this one really matters here. I think that, both teams have strong matchups.
Right.
Here, I think that they're going with really strong lineups, both sides. Again, I just like what the Argo have been doing as of late. They've been scoring more than Appease the Gods. Lamar hasn't been as familiar. Injury considerations, but again, not worth going into. I've got the Argonauts handling this one comfortably. 145. Appease the Gods, 119.
All right, man. We got some quick breaking news here. We have some very, very sad news to report. Just out of Denver, heartbreaking news for a former member of a championship Gaff Attack teams. Demaryius Thomas, 33 years old, of the former Denver Broncos Super Bowl champion, actually has passed away. So hard out to my boy Demaryius, man. That's some crazy news. So that being said, let's look at this matchup with the Argonauts and ATG. I'm also agreeing with you. We go in Argo here. I think Dak Prescott bounces back after a tough week against the New Orleans Saints. He really did not look like himself. I'm sure they're going to try to get him back on track. And I think on ATG side, what's going to be important for them to see just before the PPL playoffs, man, is Lamar Jackson. Lamar's got to play well. He has he's kind of let him down towards the end of the season. He could have easily cost him a playoff spot. So they need to see Lamar bounce back. And I think they need to see a little more from Tyler Lockett. And they want to probably see Mike Evans get strong. That being said, this matchup does not matter at all, except for basically seeding purposes. ATG could probably jump to the 3 seed and avoid the Argonauts in the first round. Or in the final 4 round, excuse me. But other than that, it has no significance. But I think the Argonauts are going to get this one. I got the Argonauts winning this one, 142 to ATG's 126. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a matchup also of little significance besides standings and even draft position. We have the Baby Gas team taking on the United Players, the Destroyers. All right, man. So basically, Tom and his guys, they left no doubt last week. They basically ended week 13 the way they started the season in week 1, leaving no doubt. The UP basically can clinch a 3 seed and really set themselves up for probably a rematch with the Twins if they can get by in the first round. The BGT, all they're really playing for is whether they're going to pick first or second in the draft. What do you think it is for BGT UP?
I don't even think BGT's playing for that. I mean, they're not even setting lineups at this point. Let's not kid ourselves.
Right.
UP should walk away with this.
Okay.
Buffalo, I think, really got shell-shocked, and I think Tom Brady and the Bucs could absolutely capitalize.
Okay.
Chiefs are looking like who we thought they were. Las Vegas is a team that can definitely capitalize on late in the season. My one questions here are Sonny Michel, Cooper Kupp. I'm not buying the Rams, and I saw the last time that Arizona manhandled these guys.
Yeah.
This one in Arizona, I don't expect the Rams to necessarily do anything with it. Lots of disappointment in the LA area with how Matthew Stafford's been playing, according to sources. So I'm going to say that UP wins this one. They really lock in their playoff seeding and set up a really good rematch, I think, with the Twins in a few weeks. I'm going to go with the United Players 121, BGT 85.
Okay, I'm going to agree with you, man. BGT is disinterested. They haven't set their lineup. I mean, and this is something that I'm going to just have to address as far as going forward. PPLers, set your lineups. I mean, it's just not. We want this league to be as competitive as possible. We want the best effort from every owner, and even if you are out of the race, some owner somewhere wants you to win. Especially in a scenario where the United Players, although they've clinched a playoff spot, I mean, somebody else could benefit from them losing. So I always feel like if you can do it, set your lineup, even if you've had a terrible season. Play the season out. Play every week. That being said, that's an aside thing. I got the United Players also in this matchup. As you said, I mean, I'm seeing 2 bye weeks in the UP or the BGT's lineup. Now, it didn't matter. I gotta say, it didn't matter last week. They put up a very, very high score without DJ Moore in their lineup. They've got guys that can replicate those performances, but at the end of the day, the United players left no doubt. I expect them to continue their high-scoring efforts into the playoffs. So I got the United players as a dark horse for the Pantheon Cup title, and I got them winning this matchup. I got UP winning this one, 132 to the BGT's 99. And moving on to our next matchup, we are starting to move up in importance. We go into a Coachgate conspiracy matchups, but now both of these teams are on the outside looking in. The Mean Machine looking at the #1 pick overall, and the Gaff Attack praying and hoping for help. We got a big one here as the Mean Machine of Alpha take on the Omega's Gaff Attack. All right, man, I basically laid it out right there. Mean Machine can play spoiler here. Obviously, their allegiance to Squad underestimated would obviously help Squad to knock out the Gaff. What do you think of this one, Mean Machine and the Gaff?
Yeah, I mean, Gaff has to win. I mean, right? There shouldn't be a doubt here. And I'm kind of questioning some of the decisions that are being made. Yeah, I get Jalen Hurts is on a bye. Is Taysom Hill really the guy that you want to put?
He runs the ball, man.
I mean, he does, but did you see what he did in Denver or in Dallas last week? Did you see what the Dallas defense was able to do to him?
I did.
I mean, the Jets are terrible. They ain't no Dallas, but
it is in New York.
I mean, it is in New York. This is cold weather. This is a team that practices down south. They practice in a dome.
Right.
I'm just saying, this is a guy that's going to be thrown into the elements. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't a trap game. I wouldn't put my season on the line with the Taysom Hill.
Right.
Again, he doesn't have great options here, but again, that just wouldn't be the person. You look across the way,
right.
Justin Herbert. We've heard comments this week from the Jacksonville team about how important James Robinson is to the scheme. I expect him to be prominent. I just look at
I see where you're going, man.
yeah, I'm just saying, Chargers coach, Titans, been the top one. I like the other side, but I'm not feeling the Bills coach.
Okay.
I mean, I saw exposure on Monday. I'd be real nervous going with this Bills coach down the stretch, especially in Tampa Bay
against Tom.
The Bucs have been playing real good at home.
Yeah.
So I think that Tom and company are right. I like the Arizona plays. I'm just saying, like, Gaff needs to win this game. As it stands right now, I don't see him doing it. I think the other side has enough to get it done. I think the Gaff needs to look at some of these intangibles and really question, is this the best lineup he can put forward this week? As it stands, I have Mean Machine playing this week, and making the playoff situation mute. Only for the Boston Squad by beating the Gaff, taking the question mark out, and
doing Alpha a favor.
Doing Alpha a favor in leveling the playoff sheet. I've got them winning 115 to the Gaff's 111.
No, Ulysses. Wow. No, Gaff. Gaff wins this matchup. It's all built up for him to win this matchup. Now, they wet the bed against the Argonauts. And the Gaff. If any team they hate losing to more than any team, it's the Argo. They fell in a situation where they could have clinched a playoff position. Now, Ulysses S. Hate has the Mean Machine, the #1 pick in the draft, eliminating a team from playoff contention. I'm not thinking the Gaff goes out that way. I actually like the Taysom Hill play against a porous New York team. I think Coach Sean Payton is going to scheme up some stuff, and Taysom Hill is going to be able to have success. I watched the emergence of a future star in Javonte Williams. The Gaff definitely hit a home run with that draft pick. I think that Javonte Williams has a huge game against the Detroit Lions. They fed that young man against Kansas City. I don't see why you don't do the same against the Detroit team that is not as good as the Chiefs. Leonard Fournette is he's a bell cow back now. Let's call it what it is. He's a 3-down back, and he's in Tom Brady's offense, meaning he's going to catch the ball. Leonard Fournette is as good as Najee Harris at this point, man. I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb. I'm looking at Dawson Knox. I'm looking at the Gaff keeping his season alive. 121 to the Mean Machine's 111. Now we up up in importance as we go into the next matchup in the PPL, as we have a huge one for the team of no excuses taking on the PPL's darling that fell from grace. We've got Squad Underestimated of Alpha in a KLEOS building performance that he will need going against the Skulls. All right, man, 50-50 matchup here. This is a big one. Squad Underestimated will be at war with the Skulls. I thought this matchup was going to be for the final playoff seed, but Squad stayed alive because of a little help from the Argonauts beating the Gaff attack, and then the Skulls obviously fell to ATG. What do you think of this one, man?
I've got the Skulls.
Okay.
I think the Squad gets in. I mean, they limp into the playoffs here because they're going to get it there, I believe, because Gaff also loses.
Okay.
But when I look at this, I mean, even though Josh Allen and company struggled last week, I expect them to lose in Tampa Bay. I expect them to put a stat line up out there. They don't have the same defensive schemes out in Tampa Bay, so
right.
I expect them to lose, but in a high-scoring matchup. Green Bay should have a field day in Chicago.
Okay.
I love, Jamar Chase is again one of those young guys that I think could be with the Skulls for a while.
Yeah, he's a keeper.
Patterson has been a good play as of late with Atlanta trying to figure out the running game. Again, Saints D should be a good.
That's a good play, man.
I don't expect the Jets to put up a lot of offense there. But I expect that defense to show up. Jacksonville, I think that the Titans are going to handle them. Look at the other side. Okay, Kyler, Rams.
Why was he not in last week, man?
I don't know what's going on with, some of the questions that we've asked about this team in managing talent. And if he was going to get the right lineup each week, he's going with Alvin Kamara, which I would play, Chuba Hubbard. None of these are really bad, but as I look down the line, I start to think about decisions this team made. Doing some of the off-season moves, the keeper plays, ultimately, was Kyle Pitts a better, first-round pick than keeping a Mark Andrews? I question a lot of the stuff that this guy's doing right now. I'm not confident in this lineup. Ravens D against Cleveland. These teams just played a few weeks ago. Cleveland was all over it. They had the right scheme for Lamar. And it cost them points.
And that can bleed over, yeah.
So I don't think that this one's a blowout by any means, but again, you said it earlier. I think the Skulls are going to be out to be managing some respect or perhaps disrespect that they may be feeling this season, and are going to try to put their stamp on it by saying, hey, we may not be in the playoffs, but neither is this team. Again, opening the door for Gaff should they decide to win. But I've got the Skulls winning this one, 129 to 125.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna have to agree with you, and it's crazy because if the Skulls win and the Gaff wins, the Gaff gets that last spot, and I think that might be what happens here. The Skulls might do Omega a solid, as you talked about. Mean Machine doing Alpha a solid. I'm looking at Aaron Jones coming into the lineup. I mean, he's their best player. He's the Skulls' best player. If Aaron Jones has played well, the Skulls have had a high scoring week. Look it up. It's the truth. I love the Tennessee coach play. The New Orleans play against the Jets is a good defensive play. Even if Tyson Hill was to struggle, I think that New Orleans D is gonna strap up. They're playing for their lives in that playoff seeding right now, and that's the kind of stuff that you got to start looking at late in the season. Who needs it more? And I think that in that situation, the New Orleans Saints definitely need more. I like Jamar Chase against the San Francisco 49ers. Porous secondary. It's annoying. I'm not going to even get into the 49ers. It's annoying watching them play defense. I like Darrell Henderson as a check for Kyler on Monday night. And if he even is uncomfortable with Henderson, he can still go with James Conner to kind of check Kyler on Monday night for Squad Underestimated. Kamara does get it back into the lineup, but Taysom Hill is not good for Kamara's value. Chuba Hubbard is a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. I think I got the Skulls here, and based on my scenarios, that would eliminate Squad Underestimated. I've got the Skulls winning this matchup 124. To squad underestimated is 116. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week, we go into the most crucial matchup, a matchup of Pantheon Cup 12, a matchup of opening day. Two teams who have tasted the success, that have drunk the champagne of PPL glory. We got only for the Boss taking on the Pantheon Cup 12 champions and the new 2021 Omega Conference champions, Patty's Twins. All right, man. Only for the Boss. They did it. They punched squad underestimated right in the mouth to keep their season alive in the Alpha Conference. They needed that conference victory to even have a chance this week. Now they sit up with probably their most hated rival in the PPL at this point, Patty's Twins, who has taken so much from them. What do you think of this one, brother? Only for the Boss, Patty's Twins.
I think Only for the Boss comes out swinging. I mean, I really like their lineups. I like their matchups. I mean, Tony Pollard in against Washington, a team that,
and Pollard's emerging in that offense, man. Zeke's falling back.
Yeah, I mean, and Tony's looking like he's the guy that's going to kind of step in and take some snaps. Patrick Mahomes, everybody else. I think that, we're looking back at the trade this season. Getting a guy like Deebo Samuel, I think, is probably
it was a great draft pick.
Got keeper written on him as far as how he schemes in that San Francisco offense. If the same Seahawks team shows up against Houston that showed up against San Fran, I mean, they should have a field day. I look at the other side. I'm asking the Twins, what are they doing? They have been rolling with Aaron Rodgers more so this season.
Okay.
I mean, Matthew Stafford has
at Arizona.
I mean, he's fully taken on pretender status. I mean, again, guys are comparing him to swap meat products.
Slauson, to be specific.
Yeah, I mean, our coach is getting bamboozled. I mean, Aaron's playing Chicago. We know how Aaron feels about playing in Chicago.
Is the Twins taking it easy on the Boss? Are they trying to make sure the gaff doesn't get in?
I mean, if they are, it's a punk move.
Okay.
And the Twins aren't typically known for punk moves.
Right.
So, I mean, if I know this owner the way I think
they want to win.
They're not ever going to play to not win.
Okay.
It's not a good look, especially with owners that she regularly sees. She likes to have something salty to say to people,
right?
And remind them who's bossing up.
Okay.
So I don't see them taking it easy at all. I mean, but hey, you make a great point because Matthew Stafford playing in a game that he played real bad last time. You look at some of these other plays right now. No head coach. I mean, is the Indy coach really, or I should say, is the Rams coach really worth keeping at that point? That's a Monday night game,
right?
Is this owner going to give themselves some leeway? I don't think that they can win this without a coach.
Okay,
if I'm being honest.
Well, it looks like they have one.
At the configuration right now, I just again the Kansas City Chiefs are playing for playoff seeding. They're going to come out against Las Vegas. And, again, maybe the Twins are content in their number 2 seed. I just don't see it. If the Twins could guarantee, what happens, maybe they play this differently. But, this is the win in your end game.
Okay.
Only for the Boss is the only team in the playoffs that holds their entire destiny within their own hands.
Okay.
You win and you are in.
Yeah.
And I think that, they're at a place where, I think that there's no reason they shouldn't. I think they actually win this one relatively comfortable with the current lineup without a head coach. I've got them going 140 to the Twins, 112.
Okay. Man, you have the Twins dropping off. And I don't think that they are doing that. I was being more facetious than anything, man. That was a joke. The reason they're going to lose is because Jonathan Taylor isn't going to play. That's really the reason they're going to lose. Even if I think they get a coach in there, I mean, even a coach doesn't guarantee that they're going to score any points. In fact, the coach can guarantee a loss in points. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win or lose the matchup. I'm looking at only for the Boston. I'm seeing a team that's making all the right moves right now. I'm really loving Debo's situation. Tony Pollard is about to emerge. This might be Zeke's swan song in Dallas. I'm going to be honest right now. Jeff Wilson Jr., I love the attention to detail to replace Elijah Mitchell. And they also have Stephon Diggs in a plus matchup against a Tampa defense that can't stop anybody. On the Twins side, I don't think Matthew Stafford is a bad play. Arizona's defense just isn't impressing me like they were earlier in the season. I had said that last week. Andy Dalton had a decent day. They scored 20-plus points on that defense, so I think Matthew Stafford will be just fine. Where things turn is on the point that Jonathan Taylor is not playing. That is what is going to matter here. Kareem Hunt is a great flex play to replace that production. I like the Van Jefferson to Matthew Stafford connection. Van is actually emerging more than OBJ is in that offense. So the Twins could steal this victory and help the Gaff, but I just don't think that they can. I got only for the Boss winning this matchup, stamping their ticket into the PPL playoffs to get back to the Pantheon Cup and avenge last year's loss. I got only for the Boss winning this one, 134 to Patty's Twins, 122. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. We had fun this week. The playoffs are on their way. We will be in for a full playoff preview of Wild Card Weekend. Until then, enjoy Pittsburgh and Dalvin Cook and the Vikings. When the Argonauts going against Appease the Gods. And then obviously it shifts to a Sunday night game with Aaron Rodgers. We'll see if the Twins make that switch. But if they don't, obviously Matthew Stafford will be leading the Twins in the battle against only for the Boss to see if they can keep him out of the playoffs. And maybe Darrell Henderson can knock squad underestimated out, or Kyler Murray can save squad underestimated season. You guys have a great, fun football weekend.